Good evening and welcome to Family Focus, our weekly show where we discuss important issues that affect families today. Tonight we're exploring a question that many parents and young people think about. Should parents have a say in their children's dating choices? It's a topic that certainly brings up a lot of discussion in households everywhere. Joining us to share their perspectives are David Miller, who believes parental guidance is key, and Emily Carter, who advocates for young people's independence in these matters. Welcome to you both, David and Emily.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. It's an important conversation to have. When we talk about parents having a say, I want to be clear. This isn't about controlling every aspect of a child's life or choosing their partners for them. It's fundamentally about guidance and protection, which I believe is a core responsibility of being a parent. Parents have the benefit of life experience. We've seen more of the world, we've made our own mistakes, and hopefully, we've learned from them. Our primary instinct is to protect our children from harm, and that includes protecting them from potentially damaging relationships or poor choices that could have long-term negative effects. In today's world, there are many concerns, especially with things like online dating, where it's easy for people to not be who they say they are. Parents also play a crucial role in teaching their children about what healthy relationships look like: respect, trust, and mutual support. Young people, especially when they are new to dating, might be blinded by strong emotions and miss warning signs that an experienced adult might notice. These could be signs of disrespect, manipulation, or even controlling behavior. This involvement isn't about issuing orders. It's about having open conversations, setting sensible family rules, and creating an environment where the child feels safe to discuss these things. Ultimately, our goal as parents is to see our children happy, safe, and in relationships that are good for them.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate David's points about safety, but I see this from a slightly different angle. I believe that making personal dating choices is a very important part of growing up and developing independence. Young people need the space to explore who they are, what they value in a partner, and what kind of relationship they want. This is a journey of self-discovery. Learning from their own experiences, even the difficult ones like a breakup, is a natural and necessary part of this journey. Parents, with all the best intentions, cannot protect their children from every disappointment or mistake in life, especially in relationships. In fact, trying too hard to control these choices can sometimes have the opposite effect. If young people feel their parents are too controlling or disapproving of anyone they choose, they might start to hide their relationships. This secretive behavior can damage the trust between parents and children, making it harder for young people to come to their parents if they genuinely need help or advice. I absolutely agree that open communication is vital. Parents should offer advice, share their experiences, and be a listening ear. However, I strongly believe that the final decision about who to date should rest with the young person, especially as they get older. This fosters a sense of responsibility for their own choices and helps them learn to trust their own judgment, which is a skill they will need throughout their adult lives.
Emily makes some valid points about independence and learning from mistakes. I don't disagree that these are important. However, we must also acknowledge that some mistakes in the dating world can have very serious consequences. We're not just talking about a bit of heartache. We could be talking about situations involving safety risks, emotional abuse, or relationships that are deeply unhealthy and can affect a young person's self-esteem for years. I see parental guidance not as an obstacle to learning, but as a vital safety net. It's there to catch them if they are about to fall into something truly dangerous. Let me ask this. If your child, say a young teenager, started dating someone significantly older, or someone who was clearly disrespectful and manipulative, wouldn't you feel a responsibility to intervene? And when I say intervene, I don't necessarily mean forbidding the relationship outright, though that might be a last resort in extreme cases. Intervention means having serious, direct conversations about the concerns, explaining the potential risks, and helping them see what you see. I believe that trust is also built when children understand that their parents care enough to step in and guide them, even when it's difficult.
David, I understand the desire for a safety net, But for a young person trying to find their own way, that safety net can sometimes feel more like a cage. When parents intervene too strongly, especially if it's against the young person's strong feelings, it can make them very defensive. They might shut down and become less likely to share any problems they are having in the future, which is the opposite of what we want. Learning to judge character, understanding relationship dynamics, and yes, even experiencing heartbreak are important life lessons. If parents always make the decisions or heavily steer their children away from anyone they disapprove of, young people don't get to develop these essential skills themselves. Those open conversations David mentioned are absolutely key, but they must be genuinely two-way. Parents need to listen to their child's perspective, understand their feelings, and respect their views, even if they don't agree with them. I believe trust is built when young people feel that their parents respect their growing ability to make their own judgments, even if they stumble sometimes.
David, that's an interesting point about intervention. Is there an age, in your view, when parents should significantly step back from having a say?
That's a common question, Sarah, but I don't think there's a magic number. It really depends more on the individual young person's maturity, their past behavior, and the specific situation. For younger teenagers, say around 14 or 15, I believe more direct involvement and clearer rules are often necessary because they are still learning so much. As they get older, perhaps 17 or 18, and if they've shown good judgment, parents can naturally give them more freedom. However, advice can, and often should, still be offered even to adult children, though the say becomes much more of a supportive discussion.
Emily, what about situations where a young person is, by most objective standards, making a clearly risky or unhealthy choice? What should parents do then?
In cases of genuine risk, for example, if there's danger, abuse, or exploitation, then of course parents have a responsibility to act decisively to protect their child. However, even then, the approach matters. It should involve talking with the young person about the specific dangers, providing information, and perhaps helping them access support from other trusted adults or resources. The goal should be to empower the young person to understand the risks and make a safer choice for themselves, rather than just forbidding the relationship, which might not solve the underlying issue or could drive it underground.
It sounds like a difficult balance. How can families find a middle ground between these two perspectives you've both presented?
I believe it starts with constant, open communication from a very early age. Discussing family values, expectations, and concerns long before dating even begins.
I agree with David on early communication, and I'd add the crucial element of parents actively listening to and genuinely respecting their young person's feelings and perspective, even when it's challenging.
So consistent and respectful communication seems to be a key theme from both of you. Thank you. We'll now move to closing statements.
To summarize my view, the journey of choosing dating partners is incredibly important for young people as they grow into independent and confident adults. They will make mistakes, and some of those experiences might be painful, but these are often valuable lessons that shape their understanding of themselves and relationships. Parents play a vital role as a source of support, guidance, and advice, but this support should be built on a foundation of trust and open dialogue, not on control or ultimatums. When we give young people the responsibility for their dating choices within a supportive family environment, we empower them to learn about what they need, what healthy connections feel like, and how to navigate the complexities of human relationships. Ultimately, fostering their own judgment and decision-making skills is far more protective in the long term than trying to make all the decisions for them.
Thank you. I want to reaffirm that parental involvement in a child's dating life comes from a place of deep love and genuine concern for their well-being. We have a fundamental responsibility to protect our children and to guide them as they navigate the often complex world of relationships, which can be full of emotional challenges. This isn't about taking away their freedom or trying to live their lives for them. It's about offering the wisdom of experience to help them avoid significant pitfalls and make choices that are truly good for them. I advocate for a balanced approach. one that includes ongoing guidance, the setting of reasonable boundaries appropriate to their age and maturity, and always open and honest communication. The ultimate aim is to help our children make choices that lead to their happiness and long-term well-being, and sometimes, especially when they are younger or facing clear risks, that does require parents to have a meaningful say.
Thank you both, David and Emily, for sharing your thoughtful insights on this sensitive topic. You've given our viewers a lot to consider. We've heard strong arguments for protecting young people and for allowing them the independence to learn and grow through their own choices. It seems clear that there's no single answer that fits every family, but finding a balance that includes open communication, mutual trust, and appropriate guidance is essential. That's all the time we have for Family Focus this evening. Thank you for watching, and good night.